Coming the other way is Crandall. David Crandall looking, firing. He scores! David Crandall! His second goal of the game, and it's an overtime game winner.
And that's how we'll start Ice Check on Sports Nightly, presented by Owens Community College this week. You know the gentleman with me, Mr. Matt Melzak, who was on the call, and Matt Crandall, whose son David scored the game winner for Northview on Saturday night. Gentlemen, what a great district semifinal contest we had at Tama over the weekend.
Boy, arguably, Claire, maybe one of the best games we have seen in high school hockey in a long time. Matt, let's start right there. I know you were there. Obviously, your son David scored the game-winning goal in overtime. But is that the best hockey game we have seen in high school hockey this season?
Probably this season, Matt, because we didn't get to see a ton of games. But, yeah, that was an exciting one. And just the roller coaster up and down. You mentioned it during the game. Northview had 3 one-goal leads up until overtime. Their fourth lead would do it, the 4-3 goal. But it was quick strikes. It was power play goals, shorthanded goals. It had everything, and of course, you knew that thing was going to go into overtime, and when it did, I tell you, emotions run high, Matt, when you have a player on the team, let alone a senior. So my wife was having some issues.
I'm sure you guys were very emotional during that game. The other team that won on Friday night in the district semifinals, and that's the St. Francis Knights that were able to defeat Bowling Green 4-2 final. How about the fact that BG pushes St. Francis for a second straight year, Matt?
Wow, what a run Bowling Green had. Up to 2 overtime wins and then a tie game going into the third period against St. Francis, the #1 seed. So hats off to Bowling Green. But let's get to St. Francis, Matt. They're right where we thought they would be. They're in the district finals again. Second year in a row now, though. And now St. Francis, they're against Northview again. Northview came in as a favorite last year. St. Francis knocked them off. St. Francis will come in as a favorite in the #1 seed this year. Exciting action.
All right, Matt, give me a point either side here, St. Francis, Northview. How do these two teams come away with a win and head down to Columbus?
So I think the first goal in this one, Matt, is going to be very important because it's so emotional this time of the year. So if a team can get out and get that first goal and maybe get it in the first period and relax a little bit, then, yeah, I think that team might have a little advantage. But if you look at these teams on paper, wow, they're pretty close. And they're both going to rely heavily on their goaltenders. And you talk about Smalley all the time. We've talked about Nowak, too. So 2 good goalies going here. I could see either one of them stealing the game.
If the first 3 matchups between St. Francis and Northview tells us one thing, maybe it'll be a close game, maybe it won't. But one thing we know we're going to see some opportunities with the special teams, aren't we?
Hopefully not. Hopefully both teams can show some discipline and stay out of the penalty box. I like both teams, but St. Francis, the way they move the puck around on the power play, and they're good at drawing penalties too, so sometimes you get one guy in the box, you might even get 2 guys in the box, they go 5-on-3, it's in the back of the net.
That'll be something to certainly watch for when we get to the game on Friday night. Of course, we'll have it for you on BCSN Now, the app, and then shown later on BCSN. Matt, I know St. Francis playing in the district final, but they got some good news because of their JV team got something done.
A state championship last week for the JV team out there at St. Francis. They're loaded. They're loaded on the JV team. They're loaded on the varsity front. A lot of great hockey players out there at St. Francis. Let's see if the big club can do it. The JV put some pressure now on the big squad, Matt. Let's see if they can do it here in the district final and then get down to Columbus and do some damage there because the bracket's been shaken up a little bit statewide.